Good afternoon. Got another hand here. This is also a suited connector. Sorry, suited one gapper. 9-7 of diamonds. This is a 10 NL game. We have villain 2 limps. He only has 23 left behind. He's playing at over 16 hands. He's playing 67% of them. Pre-flop raise is 3 out of 15. This guy is going to be a weak player. You can see in mid position, 80%, 4 out of 5 hands. He's raised 2 out of the 5. So the raise first in is 50%. It's going down. So I think this guy's playing just a pretty wide range. We're going to give him these connectors and one gappers. Probably offsuit aces too. That's 36 hands. He could be playing these offsuit connectors as well. So that's at 40%. King 9, Queen 9, Jack 9, maybe. Maybe these suited 2 gappers. I mean, that's a pretty darn wide range. And he didn't raise, so, he was showing that he was raising, and perhaps he's going to be raising, pocket pairs, maybe 10s plus, ace jack, ace queen plus, king queen. I mean, something like that. That leaves 37.7% of hands. Still has a wide limping range here. We're on the button, and it's to us, and versus this limping range, I think we can have a pretty generous raising range. So, that here. Sorry, button. So we're looking at something like that. Button versus the MP. And versus a player like this, we can probably expand even more. What we don't want to do is limp in or just limp behind, because I think the big blind is going to be coming along, so we should be raising it here. I kind of think maybe those even go even more. I mean, we're still pretty loose at 31%, but that's my raising range. Having the aces is going to be nice because we block the aces then, which means he's calling with an even weaker range. So I do think we should be raising here, which I did. Now, is 3 big blinds enough? No, I think we need to do 4 or 5. Actually, with this player 37, 7, and he's playing 31%. I think we should probably at least raise 4, maybe size up to 5 or 6. Could be even 7 to isolate. Just kind of depends on the table and how we feel. So what ended up happening is that we got called by the blinds, but not by villain 2. So let's add these. So he's playing 31-25 from the small blind. We have a lot of hands on him from the small blind. He's calling the raise at 13%. So I think he is going to be, we're looking at pockets, pocket pairs, maybe the suited aces. Maybe these suited connectors, something like that. That's 13.4%. We'll add 6-5. So that's a small blind. What about the big blind? He's playing, we only have 15 hands on him, so it's going to be hard to assign a range. And he's played, he's called a raise 1 out of 1 from the big blind. I actually think I'm going to use the same type of range. Do that. Let's go to here to the big blind. Paste that. Ooh, hold on. Sorry, got to paste that down here. There we go. That's better. And we're going to add a few more. So I think we're going to add some of these suited cards here. Probably the offsuit aces. I think most people raise kings plus ace king. Let's tighten this up. Those gappers. 32.4%. I think that's probably okay. So we go three-way to this pot, and we flop queen 3-4. Queen of clubs, 4 of hearts, 3 spades. All right, so we've got 7% that he donks, 1 out of 14. This guy's 50%. I think if he donks, he probably has queen with a weaker kicker. So we don't really have that. So I'm not really expecting a donk unless he has maybe like jack 10, 9, 8. So mid pair, just to kind of see if anyone has the queen. Because if he gets called, then he's probably just gonna check turn. It's possible maybe he would donk a little bit more. So my notes here is nut job, loose aggressive, basically best whenever possible, raises pre-flop with 5-4 suited from the small blind, over bet shove on a 10-10-4 board. So he's definitely seems to be much more aggressive than what I'm thinking. Definitely when you look at his numbers, C-bets are really high. His flop bets, 59%, but his donks, 1 out of 14. I think if anything, he's probably check raising a little bit more, so 3 out of 21. Does he call the C-bets? He calls a lot. So he checks. Villain 5 checks. So we're going to start here. What do we think he's going to check here? Let's see. I think sets check, top pair checks. I mean, he's got good hand. I think maybe a pocket pair below top card. He might be betting. I'm going to include it as a check because I'm going to say it's these weaker hands that'll probably bet. He's probably going to bet those and try to take it down at some point. Now with the ace 3, ace 4, he's got the ace, so he could back into the straight, and that's kind of why I think the bottom pair couldn't work. Same thing, pocket pair below the board. I think that he checks that. No made hand, he checks. Open-ended straight draws, gut shots. I think we're setting up for a lot of. I think he's setting up a lot for check raises with a lot of these hands. This guy checks, and we don't know a whole lot, so we're gonna assume he would have checked again. A lot of his hands, probably everything. I'm not gonna assume that he bets it all, and just go from there. All right, so it's on us. And question is, should we bet? Should we check? That when we look at our range, now excluding what we ultimately have, and what we really have, I think we should probably bet. I should say, if we bet, what do we think is going to call? I think this is a flop where looser players are probably going to call with jacks to 5s, so 5s to jacks. They're going to call, to take one off at least once. I think queens are going to call. I think 5-6 are going to call. Is 5-6 in their range? Yeah, I think they can be in both of their range. Can they have 2 pair? Yeah. Trips? Yeah. Can they have ace 2? Yes. What I feel about a check raise? Wouldn't necessarily like it. I think the check raise represents more of a bluff because on this board you don't really have a draw. You can have a straight draw, but you don't really have a flush draw. So I think the check raise is going to be a little bit more suspicious. Not necessarily that you have trip 3s or trip 4s. So when we think about what kind of value, who's going to give us value? I do think we're going to be betting top pair plus. Are we going to be betting all of top pair plus? I don't think so. I think we're going to be checking some of these. And maybe, maybe I'm wrong. So when we look at top pair plus, open-ended straight draw plus, we've got 17.6%. We're going to have to be betting some other stuff as well. So, I think the gut shots bet. I think some of the overcards are going to bet. I think of the overcards, I think we want the 2-card backdoor flush draws. So not all of the ace kings, but I think we should be doing quite a few of the ace kings. I'd say not all of the ace kings because we're two-way. And with an ace king, what do we do if a 3 or a 4 comes? If they don't believe that we had, actually a queen, then they're going to call the turn again. So I think we should be betting our 2-card backdoor flush draws. That's going to be our bluffs. So let's get our grouping ranges here. So actually, before we do that, we're going to copy our range here. So our pre-flop range, that is 31.2%. And we have 414 combos. The flop comes down queen 4-3, queen of clubs, 4 of hearts, 3 of spades. Let's get that in there. Queen of clubs, 4 hearts, 3 spades. All right. We can't really work out our range as equity because we've got 2 other players in the pot right now. But you can see that based on this equity, this guy had the stronger range, had more pairs in his range relative to all other cards. So let's see here. We have our draws. So 33% draws. Probably have 10% C bets. So 13.9, 14%. That's about right. About 2 to 1. We're definitely not C betting a whole lot, but we're dealing with people that are likely to call. So I think we could easily check. And I think part of this checking range, we're going to have to check some of our better hands. So I think this is where we can check our pocket pair below top pair. I think kind of counts as a mix between value and bluffing, because if we have, maybe not all of them, but if we have, let's say, jacks or tens, we kind of do expect 5, 6, 7s, and 8s to call those. So we have some of that, and this is where also I think with our checking range here with the top pair, I think we could probably check these ace, queens, king, queen hands, because we're not really worried. Our hand's really not vulnerable. So we're betting, and definitely betting appropriately, but continuing wise, we're at 58.3%. We're and we could check our entire range if we wanted to. What about the middle pair and the bottom pairs? Those are going to be just straight up betting to bluff. But again, I don't think it's wise to bet those, because these players are going to have hands that can call, and I don't think we're going to generate the correct percentage of folds to show automatic profit with a bet. So I checked, and I think when we check, then I think we can get rid of some of our hands. So I checked here. Let's get rid of those. We were going to bet those. But let's take those out. Okay, so our checking range, middle pair, bottom pair, no made hand, not any no made hand, overcards, but not all overcards either. So we just have to remember. And let's get that. So our checking range is going to be something like that, 20%. Now with our checking range, you can see that we're about 40% equity. Ace of clubs hits, and that's why I think here with the ace of clubs, yeah, we let any other with ace to catch, but if we had ace queen, I mean, we're with king queen, we are risking that the ace comes, ace falls, and I think that's a suitable risk. So now we showed weakness, they showed weakness. Are they going to show weakness all the time? Definitely think. Oops. That's ace of club. Get that out. We're gonna. That's our flop range. We said this guy was gonna check, and I said, yeah, I think check raise. He's probably gonna check raise. Yeah, and he could have bet too, but ace of clubs here comes out. He checks again. Now, is he a player that would check all the time? I think he checks his straights, but he doesn't have any. No, he's going to bet set, top pair. I think he's going to bet all of these pairs. Well, I don't know. The ace changes it. I think if it wasn't the ace, he's going to be betting a lot of this. But definitely, I think top pair is going to be betting now. Pocket pair below second card. Yeah, possibly weak pair. I think he's betting these draws. Let's take out the weak pair and those in the middle pair and say he's going to be betting top pair plus. He's going to be betting these draws because he can hit. So that's 58.9% is what he's going to bet. This guy checks, and I have to think with the board that got scared, I would think two top pair plus is going to check. I'm sorry. That's his betting range. That was his betting range. So his checking range is something like that. So 62.3%. And this guy is checking, so I think he's going to be betting his top pair plus. Probably checking all of those. Again, I kind of think his draws he would be betting. Maybe not gut shots. But I think flush draw is probably betting. Open-ended straight draw is going to probably be betting. So now you can see that, yeah, our hand, where we're at, is good. And I think here on this board, we should be betting a lot. Because I think probably 100% of our range is what we should be betting here, because we do have 70% against everyone else. We get the loosest player to call. No, we've got the small blind calling. So here, once he calls, I do think he's calling with at least a pair. At least a pair, because I mean, that's his MO. So once we get to here, let's go to our turn. We still have 100% of the range. I think that's his calling range. All right. So our range is still 100%. 100% of previous range. The number of combos that we have is 63. And then our river comes up as an 8 of clubs. And villain 4 checks. So is he ever going to bet? Yeah, I think he bets a set. So I think here we are dealing with just all of these pairs. Probably hoping for a free showdown. What can we do? So if that's his check, I do think sets are going to bet. Against that, we have a lot of our hands. So I think we bet for value. I think middle pair, top pair, I think we bet for value. If that's what we do, then it comes down to this. What do we think he's going to call? I don't think he has the aces. And I do think he's going to be calling with a lot. So at this point, we can bet all of those. If we don't have it, so we had draws and stuff. So the weak pair, king 4, king 3, I just kind of think we check behind. And I did, and villain shows ace 10, so he had ace 10 offsuit. I didn't have that in his range. If we add that, does that change? Yeah, a little bit. He checked, and I assumed he would have been betting leading out with the top pair, but I guess it kind of makes sense. No one showed strength. He now hits top pair, and he's being tricky. He's being tricky. So it's still, if he has that ace 10, that top pair, I think it fits with what he was going to do. How do I like my play? I had 9-7 of diamonds. Do I even have 9-7 of diamonds? No, I don't. So I kind of think I got tripped up. I think the turn was okay. Oops. 3 spades. So, we don't have a 2-card backdoor flush draw. It's just straight up a bluff at this point. But we checked it. So I guess I should say we had no made hand. We had it, and then the ace of clubs hit, and I think here's where we said what we were gonna bet, which was 100%. Our bets were 42% bluff, 57% call. I don't have the 9-7 diamonds here, so that's still part of this no made hand, which I don't think I really should have played it. I'm okay. I took a stab with it, but I think the ace is probably one of the worst cards to take a stab with without having any sort of equity. So I think I messed up this hand. Shouldn't have bet the turn. Now, if I had, let's say, 9-7 of clubs, I think that's a good bet because we expect aces to call. We expect queens to probably call at that point. So, all right. Hope you enjoyed this hand. Look tomorrow for another one.